So you're thinking about becoming a DevOps engineer by 2026? Awesome. But, it can seem kind of confusing. Like, where do you even start? Well, today we're going to clear all that up. We're going to walk through a complete, step-by-step roadmap that turns all that confusion into a really clear path forward. Let's just dive right in.
Okay, first things first, let's get the big one out of the way. You'll always hear someone say, DevOps is a culture, not a role. And you know what? They're not wrong. But the reality is, companies still need people to actually build the bridges and manage all the automation. And that's the role we're mapping out today.
So what is this culture that everybody's always talking about? Well, at its absolute core, DevOps is a mindset. It's all about tearing down those old walls, the silos, between the teams who build the code, the developers, and the teams who have to run it, operations. It's really just a philosophy built on everyone sharing ownership and working together.
And here's the key difference you gotta get. The mindset is for absolutely everyone. A developer, a QA tester, a product manager, anybody can adopt these principles of collaboration. But the DevOps role, that's the specialist. They're the engineer who actually builds and maintains the toolchain that makes this whole culture possible in the first place.
So here's our game plan for today. We've kind of covered the what. Next, we're going to lay the foundation. Then we'll get into scripting and source control, build that core automation pipeline, learn how to manage it all when things get big, and finally, talk about how you can kickstart your own journey.
All right, let's start at the beginning and build our foundation. I mean it. Before you even think about touching a single fancy DevOps tool, you have to master the fundamentals. This is the bedrock that everything else, all your automation, is going to be built on. And that foundation, it really comes down to two essential pillars. First up, Linux. The huge majority of servers out there in the cloud run on it, so you have to, absolutely have to, be comfortable on the command line. Second, networking. You got to understand how computers talk to each other, things like IP addresses, DNS, ports. Seriously, without this, nothing else is going to work. Okay, with our foundation solid, we can actually start building stuff. This next part is all about the tools you're going to use to create automation, and this is just as important, how to manage all the code you're about to write.
Now, this is a super important point. DevOps engineers write code. We're not necessarily talking about building complex applications, but you are writing scripts to automate tasks. Python is a huge favorite because it's simple and has tons of powerful libraries. Go is another amazing choice, especially for modern cloud stuff, because a lot of core tools like Docker and Kubernetes are actually built with it.
So just picture this. You've got a team of 10 people all working on the same automation scripts. How on earth do you keep track of who changed what? How do you merge everyone's work together? And what if something breaks? How do you roll back? It would be total, absolute chaos without some kind of system. And that right there is exactly why we have Git. It is the undisputed, industry-standard king of version control, the single source of truth for your entire team's code. Every single change gets tracked, every version is saved. It just makes working together organized and super efficient. Mastering Git is completely non-negotiable.
Okay, let's build our automation pipeline. This right here is where the real magic happens. Think of it like we're building an automated assembly line that takes software from a developer's laptop and gets it all the way into the hands of users. The heart and soul of this assembly line is something called CI/CD. Continuous integration just means developers are merging their code changes into a central place really often, which automatically kicks off a build and test process. The huge win here? You catch bugs early and often. Then, continuous deployment takes over, automatically pushing that code to production if all the tests pass. That's how you get super fast and reliable releases.
But wait, how do we make sure the code that passed all our tests runs the exact same way in production? Well, we use containers, and the go-to tool for that is Docker. It finally solves that classic painful problem of, well, it works on my machine by packaging up the application and everything it needs into one standard, portable little box, a container.
Okay, so you've put your app in a container. That's awesome. But a real-world application isn't just one container, right? It's dozens, maybe hundreds of them, all working together. So how do you manage all that complexity? How do you scale up when traffic spikes or handle things when a container fails?
The answer is Kubernetes. Look, if Docker is the standardized shipping container for our software, then think of Kubernetes as the entire global logistics system. It's the shipyard, the cranes, and the giant cargo ships that manages all of those containers at a massive scale. It automates deployment, scaling, and even self-healing for applications.
So, We've got our automated pipeline, we've got our orchestration system. Now we need to manage the actual infrastructure itself with code. And, we need to make sure everything is actually working the way we think it is.
This is where something called Infrastructure as Code, or IAC, is a total game changer. With a tool like Terraform, you literally write code that defines your entire infrastructure, your servers, your databases, your networks. You can then create, update, or even destroy your whole cloud environment with a single command. It makes everything repeatable, auditable, and version controlled, just like your app code.
So think about it. We've automated everything. The application deployment, the scaling, the infrastructure creation. It's this beautiful, self-running machine. But how do you actually know if it's healthy? How do you figure out what's wrong when a problem is buried deep inside this super complex system?
The answer is observability, and it's basically built on 3 pillars. You've got logs, which are just detailed text records of what happened and when. You have metrics, which are numbers, like CPU usage or how long a response took, tracked over time. And then you have traces, which are amazing. They follow a single user request as it jumps through all the different services in your app. Put them together and you get the complete picture of your system's health.
Whew! We have covered a lot of ground. So let's take a second, put it all together, and really see the complete picture of the DevOps lifecycle. And then we'll talk about your first step.
And this slide really brings it all home. This is the entire roadmap in one single flow. A developer pushes code to Git, which triggers a CI/CD pipeline. That pipeline packages the app into a Docker container. Kubernetes then deploys and orchestrates those containers on infrastructure that's managed by Terraform, and the whole time, the entire system is being watched by our observability tools. See, it's a complete, powerful cycle.
And where does all this happen? Well, it all runs in the cloud. Platforms like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform, they provide the fundamental compute, storage, and networking that our automated pipelines build on top of.
So after all that, what is the single most important takeaway? Honestly, it's this quote, taken straight from the source material. You can read documentation and watch tutorials all day long, but the real learning, the stuff that sticks, happens when you start building. Theory is nothing without practice.
And that brings us to the final and really the most important question. We've given you the map, we've shown you the path from start to finish. The only thing left to do is to take that first step. So, what is the first small project you are going to build to start your journey?